Hey guys, I wanted to talk a little bit about pencils and sketching today. I primarily use an assortment of mechanical pencils. It's just my preference because I absolutely hate spending time sharpening pencils, so I like these. I start off with, I've got lead holders, so this is a 0.9 2B. I like to use thicker pencils for my initial thumbnail sketching. So things like this, because I can get more into it and get really rough and do more shading easily when I have a nice large tip to work with, right? You can work on your shapes better that way and your shading and figure out your compositional elements and your darks and lights and get really messy with it. So I like to start off with my larger, thicker pencils. This is a 0.5. I'll do some of my sketching sometimes with this as well. And this is generally, also I generally like to use a little bit softer lead when I'm working with these thicker ones. So I usually do 2B when I'm working with 0.5 and thicker pencils. And then once I get to my finalized sketch, when I'm working on my drawing that's ready to be painted, I switch to much finer point pencils. And this one is my current favorite. I like this Faber-Castell, and it is a 0.3. I usually use HB at the very hardest, very softest, I mean, and 2H even more frequently, because the harder your pencil lead is, the less extraneous graphite dust you're going to get into your painting. And since this is a piece that's ready to be painted, I don't want too many dark lines or too much stray dust around, because that's just going to muddy up my paint colors, my watercolors, and you'll just end up with much duller tones and more grayish tones to it. I've also got this 0.2, which I was really hoping would work out, but it didn't. I just don't like the way the lead kept breaking. Do I even have any lead in here right now? Anyway, I don't have any lead in there because I haven't used it in forever. So 0.3 is actually my preferred pencil of choice to use when I am working on my finalized drawings ready to be painted. So I've got this now, right? This is a piece. I'm about ready to start putting brush to it. Now, sometimes my pencil lines are a little bit dark. It doesn't look dark, I know. It's fairly light here. As I said, I try to keep everything pretty much on the light side so that I don't have to deal with very much of it when I have the finished painting. In fact, when I draw at this darkness, by the time I finish painting, usually as a result of my hand rubbing across it and my brush, going over things, almost all the pencil lines have vanished by then. But sometimes if I have areas that are a little bit too dark, I like to use this Kneaded Eraser. That's what this is. You've seen these at stores. They look like these gray, they sell them in gray blocks. And you can stretch them and you can do all kinds of things with them. You can roll them up like this, and so you can get into tiny little places. If you needed to erase something, you can go like, erase it like that. The nice thing about these is they don't leave any eraser dust because it just picks up the graphite. And it's really nice and easy on your paper, so you don't roughen up your paper or do anything. I'll go like this to pick up stray graphite. I'll just press it into my paper. The other thing you could do sometimes is you take a smaller piece of it and you turn it into a little log, and you can just roll it across your stuff and it will pick up and lighten areas for you nice and evenly. Now once you have your sketch ready and at the darkness that you want, then what I like to do is I take some clean water and a nice large flat brush. This is a 1-inch flat, and brush over everything. Just give it a quick once over like this. Don't have to be very careful or anything. What this does, I've found, is that it sort of makes the graphite stick, really adhere to where it is and sink in a little bit. So that as I paint now, because I have this sketch that's very light, as you see, I don't want it to all rub away with the passing of my hand, you know, as I'm painting, just like scrubbing across it, which will happen sometimes. You'll just get your pencil all blurred out. Now, using an HB lead or 2H will minimize this as well, in addition to lifting off the extra, as I just showed you with the Kneaded Eraser. But this is sort of the final step in making sure that it stays put, the lead stays put, and you don't end up with lots of smudgy gray smears all over the areas of your painting that you haven't yet gotten to. And so I just do that, let it dry, and then I am ready to start painting this. And hopefully my graphite stays put enough, stays put for the length of time that I'm painting it, and then by the time I am finished, it is nicely gone.